Am I the asshole for leaving a dinner party after a girl sat on my husband's lap? I am still so shook with everything, so sorry for my rambling. My husband, Jake, and I have been married for 3 years, and from the beginning he was very close with his best friend's sister, Cindy, 18F. Well, my husband would often talk about her and tell how he had seen her grow up throughout the years. Cindy is always very bubbly and seems very fond of Jake as well. I remember when we were dating she would ask to come along on our dates a lot. I never really said anything as I liked spending time with her as well. She was like a little sister to me. When we announced our engagement she asked my husband to better not forget her after being a married man and to still hang out with her. Well, we got married and I even made her my bridesmaid. Soon we moved to a different state and kind of lost contact. Jake's best friend came to stay with us for some time and Cindy came along as well. The moment she saw us, the first thing she said was how hot my husband has gotten, and that she was glad he didn't look like those boring married men. Then, throughout their stay, Cindy would just ignore my presence, and would be way too close with Jake. I told Jake that it was looking a bit inappropriate, and to ask Cindy to tone it down, but he said that Cindy is just a bit childish, and is that way with everybody. Well, at their last day, we decided to host a dinner party for everybody. During the party, I was with Jake when Cindy came and told me, "Oh, I need to steal your husband for a while," and before I could say something, she grabbed Jake's hand and took him away to play games. I ignored it since it was their last day, but then, throughout the dinner, she was getting way too close with Jake, and would just drag him away whenever I would be around, while giggling at me. When everybody sat down for dinner, I sat beside Jake, and Cindy came last. She then said, "Oh, there is no seat," and just went and sat on my husband's lap. Everybody was surprised, and Jake said, laughing, "Cindy, stop acting like a kid, you're not a kid anymore." Cindy started laughing, saying it was a joke, and got up and sat in another seat while giggling at me. Yeah, I was so angry with the disrespect, and the fact that Jake was so cool with it, but I didn't want to say anything bad, so I excused myself. I took my car and went out. About 1 hour later, Jake called me asking where I was. I told him I am going to my friend's house and I will come after Cindy has left. I know what I did was terrible, but I was so angry at that time that if I had stayed there any longer, I would have probably started fighting or crying. I came home the next day, and Cindy and her family had left. Jake was very pissed and said I took things too far. I started crying and told him how everything made me feel. He said I was horrible to think such things about Cindy and that she was like his sister. I told him that I wasn't doubting his intentions, but I was hurt by how disrespectful Cindy's behavior was, and that he was enabling her by not saying anything. He started saying that I sounded ridiculous and that I couldn't even take a joke, referring to the sitting on lap incident. I said, regardless, I don't want her in my house again. To top it off, Cindy sent a message saying she was sorry for making me feel so insecure in myself and that she would make sure to help me feel better. But she added that I shouldn't have left, as it was pretty childish and kind of spoiled the mood. It felt so backhanded, and I didn't reply to her. I told my husband that he needs to maintain a distance from Cindy. He asked if I was giving him an ultimatum. I said, if you will go as far as to disregard and disrespect my feelings for Cindy. This really rubbed him the wrong way, and he said that since I have such disgusting thoughts in my mind and am giving him an ultimatum anyway, he might as well leave because he cannot live with such an insecure person who has such disgusting thoughts about him. He packed a bag and left for his mother's place. I have tried apologizing numerous times, telling him how sorry I am for everything, but he is ignoring my texts and calls. Later, Cindy's brother texted me and called me a bunch of names for thinking like that about his sister, saying Jake should just leave me and that a disgusting person like me deserves to be alone. I couldn't stop crying after that. I don't know how to fix this. Is there even a way to come back from this? Was I so wrong to deserve this? I don't know anymore. Edit, for those asking our ages, we are 25 years old, just months apart. Update, thank you all for responding, and to those who gave me good advice in personal messages. I couldn't read all the comments, but now I know my feelings are valid and that boundaries were crossed by Cindy. During the dinner, there was Cindy, her brother Sean and his girlfriend, and their cousin Derek, who is also a good friend of my husband, with his boyfriend. I called Derek and asked about the situation and what happened after I left. He was sympathetic and said that at first, they thought I would come back after some time. However, things became really awkward, and when I didn't return, Sean's girlfriend told Cindy that she was being disrespectful for doing that. Derek and his boyfriend also agreed. Cindy then started crying, saying they didn't have to corner her and attack her over a silly joke, and that she didn't realize it would get so out of hand. She left the room while crying. Jake didn't know what to say, and everybody left early the next day. Derek also told me that Cindy has always had issues with boundaries. When he introduced his boyfriend to everyone, Cindy would get too close and joke that she was just checking if he was really gay. They were really uncomfortable with it, so Derek confronted her. Cindy rolled her eyes and said they couldn't take a joke, but eventually, she stopped. This all sounds so bizarre, I don't know what's going on with Cindy. Sean's girlfriend also texted me, saying she was sorry for what happened. I told her how Sean's message was inappropriate. She had no idea about the text, so I sent her a screenshot and asked her to tell Sean not to harass me again. She was very apologetic and said she would talk to him. Now, my mother-in-law called and asked what was going on, as Jake didn't tell her anything and only mentioned that we had an argument. I was a bit hesitant to explain, but I eventually told her everything. She was furious at my husband and said they will be coming over to have a talk. So yeah, I'm just waiting for them to arrive and feeling really nervous. I don't know if what I did was right or wrong, but we'll see. As for people saying my husband is some kind of pedo or that they are having an affair, I know this is far from the truth. I never questioned his intentions, but what hurt me was Cindy's lack of respect toward me. Update 2. So, my mother-in-law came with my husband, and well, the talk happened. There were a lot of things discussed, but I'll try to summarize. Basically, Jake apologized to me first and tried to explain his point of view. He said he was angry because I left without saying anything for the whole night when he was literally just trying to defuse the situation. He laughed it off because it was so awkward, and he didn't know what else to do. Instead of communicating, I just left him in that weird situation. He was meeting his friends after such a long time and just wanted the dinner to be peaceful. Cindy was going back anyway, and we would most likely never see her again. He acknowledged that Cindy was indeed overstepping boundaries, but he didn't know how to bring it up since he's literally seen her growing up, and she is like a little sister to him. He said she acts like that with everyone. He thought it was just for a few days, and he wanted no drama during their stay, so he decided to brush it off. He admitted he was wrong for not saying anything. He was already really worried and sad about how I just left without any explanation. Even after I came back, I never once asked how he felt. He was overwhelmed with everything and felt like I was accusing him of not doing anything, even though he politely pushed her off when she tried to sit. He felt I was attacking his character and that giving him an ultimatum made him feel awful, as if I thought so little of him. He said that after the dinner, he was planning to go extremely low contact with Cindy anyway. He apologized for not speaking up about the disrespect Cindy was showing me and also for leaving the way he did. After Jake said everything, my mother-in-law explained the situation to him from her perspective. She scolded him a lot as well. In short, she told him that as a husband, it was his responsibility to make me feel like I am his priority, and that he disappointed me the moment I had to come to him and ask for boundaries to be established. As a husband, it was his duty to ensure I never had to bring it up in the first place. She also asked him how he would have felt if it had been a guy sitting on my lap, and he had no answer to that. She told him that what I did was an eruption of suppressed feelings, and as my husband, it was his duty to come after me and never let me leave in the first place. There were a lot of things said by her, and Jake seemed to realize his mistakes and sincerely apologized for his actions. She told him that if he ever pulled such a stunt again, he shouldn't expect her to take him in. Later, my mother-in-law took me for a walk, just the two of us, and she explained some things to me. She said she was sorry for everything but told me that even at her house, Jake was distraught. He didn't tell her much, most likely because he knew he was wrong too but was feeling overwhelmed by everything. She said she's in no way excusing her son's behavior, but she hopes that I will forgive him. She also reassured me that under no circumstances do I need to leave my house, as it is my home and my family. She told me not to be afraid to speak my mind if something makes me uncomfortable and to talk to her if Jake does something stupid again. She promised she would set him straight. She said she hopes we work things out since she has seen the love we have for each other, and it would be sad to see us split up over some disrespectful brat, her words. She mentioned that while she cannot interfere in our issues, she suggested we should consider counseling to better understand each other. She even bought me ice cream. I know it's a bit childish, but she said sweet things work like a charm when people are upset, and well, she was right. That night was awkward. Jake came into our room, and we didn't know what to say. After a while, we talked and both apologized to each other. However, I told him that I was angry at him for telling Sean everything and was deeply hurt by the text he sent me. He said he didn't know what I was talking about, so I showed him the messages. Jake explained that he never told Sean about our fight, he only mentioned that he was staying at his mom's place. He called Sean, and it turned out Sean had told Cindy what happened and also confronted her about how she went too far at the party. In response, Cindy made up a huge sob story about how I was passive-aggressive with her the entire time, how I always tried to question her character, and how I acted insecure and jealous. She even went so far as to say that I had always been like that with her, even when she was a kid, and that I never liked her. She accused me of manipulating people into thinking I was an angel while she was a slut. This made Jake angry because he genuinely thought I had been treating Cindy badly, which led to him sending those texts. We were both baffled by such accusations. Jake tried to explain the truth to Sean, but in the end, he decided to let it be and go no contact with Cindy and extremely low contact with Sean. He apologized again and we just cuddled and slept. Well, Cindy is out of our lives for good now, and we've decided to go to counseling to improve our communication in the future. Let's see how things go, but yeah, we're not getting divorced. I know a lot of you wanted me to show Jake this post, but he was already so sad and got scolded a lot, so I decided not to show him for now. Maybe in the future. Sorry for all this rambling. Have a good day, everyone. Edit. I read some comments suggesting we should go no contact with Sean as well, and after thinking about it, I felt it would be best to let that friendship go. I talked to my husband about it, and he agreed. So he sent a text to Sean stating that we could no longer be friends, and then he blocked him. To clarify, I have somewhat forgiven Jake for his actions, but I told him he needs to rebuild the trust I had in him so that I know I can rely on him in situations like this. He agreed, and we will be attending couples counseling as well.